The once stable partnership between Canada and the United States has fractured. On January 7, 2026, both nations face a crossroads, their historic alliance strained by aggressive trade actions and diplomatic snubs. President Trump's unilateralism has forced Canada to rethink its place in the world, pushing Ottawa toward a more assertive, independent stance. Tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminium, lumber, and autos have inflicted real economic pain, but Canada is no longer quietly acquiescing. The security partnership has also cracked, with the Pentagon's boycott of the Halifax International Security Forum signaling a new era of unpredictability. Prime Minister Mark Carney's government now faces the challenge of forging a new identity for Canada, one less reliant on the US and more focused on national interests. This is more than a temporary rift, it's a structural realignment, and the coming years will test whether Canada's bold new stance is sustainable. The Halifax International Security Forum, once a symbol of Canada-US unity, became a stage for division when the Trump administration banned Pentagon officials from attending. This boycott was a deliberate snub, turning a forum for Allied cooperation into a spectacle of Allied discord. Despite the absence, the event continued, with a bipartisan U.S. congressional delegation attending in defiance of the White House. Canada was thrust into a leadership role, forced to confront the reality that American partnership could no longer be taken for granted. The boycott marked a turning point, exposing the defense relationship to the same transactional pressures as trade. Canadian policymakers now face tough questions about U.S. reliability and the urgent need for greater defense self-sufficiency. The empty chair at Halifax was a stark reminder. Canada must be ready to stand alone to protect its security and sovereignty. The Canada-US economic relationship has devolved into a battleground, with Trump's tariffs hitting Canadian industries hard. Job losses in Ontario's auto sector and retaliatory measures have brought the trade war home. Ontario Premier Doug Ford's government aired a provocative TV ad in the US, using Ronald Reagan's words against tariffs. An unprecedented move that infuriated Trump and escalated tensions. The ad's fallout led to suspended trade talks, highlighting a new era of bold Canadian defiance and American unpredictability. Prime Minister Carney's government now openly acknowledges the need for economic resilience and diversification. Canada is seeking new markets and strengthening domestic industries, preparing for a future where U.S. trade policy is a source of risk, not certainty. The pain of the trade war has sparked a new sense of economic independence. The clash between President Trump's volatile transactional style and Prime Minister Carney's measured rules-based approach defines the current crisis. Trump's use of tariffs and public outbursts, often triggered by perceived slights, has made the U.S. an unpredictable partner. Carney, with his global economic expertise, balances negotiation with a firm stance against bullying. Ontario Premier Doug Ford, embracing a populist Captain Canada persona, has taken bold symbolic actions to channel public frustration and assert Canadian resolve. Ford's tactics, like removing U.S. liquors and running provocative ads, have both complicated and energized the national response. Key cabinet ministers, including Anita Anand and David McGuinty, are on the front lines, managing fallout and seeking new alliances. Together, these leaders are reshaping North America's political landscape. Their actions reflect a deeper shift. Canada is no longer content to play a secondary role. Ontario, hit hardest by U.S. tariffs, has become the epicenter of Canadian defiance. Premier Ford's bold actions, removing American liquors, running Canada is not for sale campaigns, and airing U.S.-targeted ads, have sent a clear message of resistance. These symbolic moves, while limited in economic impact, have galvanized public support and projected strength. Ford's approach marks a break from Canada's traditional quiet diplomacy, embracing a louder, more populist strategy. This provincial activism has both challenged and complemented federal efforts, forging a united front of political resolve. The response to U.S. pressure is now a national movement, reflecting a shift towards self-reliance. Canada's resolve is no longer confined to Ottawa. It's a widespread, grassroots transformation. Is this rupture with the U.S. a temporary storm or a lasting break? Experts say the answer is complex. Past disagreements, like over the Iraq War, didn't destroy the alliance, but today's disputes cut deeper, spanning trade, security, and trust. Trump's nationalism may outlast his presidency, making a return to seamless cooperation unlikely. Economic pain and disrupted supply chains are forcing Canada to diversify trade and reduce U.S. dependence. The upcoming USMCA review adds uncertainty, pushing Canada to strengthen ties with Europe and Asia. The most profound change is psychological. Canadians now see reliance on the US as a vulnerability. Leaders are responding to a new public demand for independence. This is less a blip and more a fundamental awakening. Canada is charting a new course in a North America transformed by US unpredictability. The challenge is to protect sovereignty and prosperity while managing essential US ties. Trade diversification is now a strategic imperative, with agreements like CETA and CPTPP providing leverage and alternatives. On security, Canada must invest in its own capabilities and build partnerships beyond the US. Meeting NATO targets and taking a leadership role in global institutions are now priorities. This period of tension may ultimately define a stronger, more self-reliant Canada. The goal isn't to turn away from the US, but to redefine the relationship on more equal terms. Canada's bold new path could mark a permanent turning point for the nation's future.